Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Lena's Adventures Small Talk. We have a great show today. As you see, we have a lot of visitors on our show today. I'm so excited and I'm so honored for you all being here. I'm Regina Austin with Lena's Adventures, and I am so grateful to be here today. I want to thank all the audience for joining in every week, every Tuesday for the show. This is our fifth show, so I'm so excited about what we're going to talk about today. Today's show is about reimagining family part two. So we're going to be finishing up our conversation with reimagining family. Also, you know, guys, that the book is out, Gino the Giraffe. So I'm so excited about the book. Please, you guys, go on and go to my website, adventuresoflena.com, and order the book before Christmas. So I'm so excited about the book. And I'm so excited about all who are joining. So let's get this show started. Hello, Miss Cassandra Ray. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm gonna call you Lena. I'm fine, Regina. How are you?
Okay, great. Can you introduce our guest today for me?
I certainly will. We have, I call them three awesome moms with us this evening and joining you to talk about a topic that's dear to you and dear to me, really dear to all of us. Want your listeners to know and everybody to know that November is Adoption Month. And so we have here three moms. And one thing about all of them, they have all added to their family through adoption.
Mhm.
Um, I first would like to introduce Miss Anna Ford. Anna Ford is in, really, we got people from three different regions, girl. We got
Okay.
Anna Ford from Northern Virginia, that other Virginia. We have Mrs. Monique Ransom from Hampton Roads, and we've got Miss Felicia Williams from the Richmond metropolitan area, Henrico, the Richmond metropolitan area. And I'm just happy. Some of these, well, one of these women I have known for years and years and years, another one for a few years, and another one recently met. But all of them have a story to tell. All of them have an adoption journey. And I'd like to just let them briefly introduce themselves first
Okay.
by just sharing a little information about their adoption journey. And then we'll ask some more specific questions. So, Anna, would you care to start?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. As Cassandra shared, we're from the Lorton area in Northern Virginia. I have three adoptive children, sons in the house right now, and two biological who are out of the house at this point. I have a senior in high school, one in job training at Police Center, and a third grader. So I'm at very different places. I guess uh, each child was adopted at different ages. We've all gone through elementary school together, and we're almost coming up on 10 years for my sons who are in the house right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Okay.
hmm
Amen.
Thank you. And now we're going to introduce Mrs. Monique Ransom. How you doing, Monique?
Hello,
Good.
Monique.
How are you?
Good. Could you briefly
Um,
share some of your journey?
sure. Yeah. So my husband and I have um four kids and one on the way. So
Uh,
Wow.
this past summer we just finalized our third adoption. So
Wow.
three of our kids we adopted from foster care. We have one biological son, and then we have another baby on the way. So
Oh, man.
five
Congratulations.
total. Thank
Wow.
you.
Wow. You have a child on the way?
I'm
You're
pregnant. I don't
expecting?
know if you see the bump, but I'm due. Yes.
Wow.
Yep. So
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
due in February. Yep.
Oh, wow.
ooh.
Okay. Congratulations.
So
And now
thank
we
you.
have Miss Felicia Williams. Felicia, share a little bit about your journey.
Okay, good evening. I am Felicia Williams. I adopted from the foster care system in 2006 through One Church, One Child. My daughter, she was 8 years old at the time. My husband and I didn't have any biological children, and we didn't want to have children. And so she just kind of landed in our laps unexpectedly through it was a hurricane that occurred. And so it's a long story that I won't go into how
Okay.
we entered into the adoption process, but we adopted her at age 8. She is now 24 and she is living
Wow.
successfully on her own. So we went through elementary school all the way through high school, and although she lives a great deal, she lives far away from us. She's like 2.5 hours away, but she is doing really well. So
Good.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Um, Listen, I wanted to ask this question, and I hope I don't know if you all had a chance to think about it, but what is the absolute best thing about adoption that you think that you care to share? The absolute best thing about your adoption journey.
I'll go first. So
Okay.
I would say the best thing is that I know that we changed someone's life and that
Okay.
we made a difference
Okay.
because my daughter was 8 and she had had 5 failed placements prior to our home. And
Wow.
she was on her way to long term residential.
Okay.
And we were told up front all of her challenges. She had some mental illness. She had a very traumatic background. And so we knew
Okay.
going into it that it wouldn't be easy. But we overcame every challenge. And I am happy to be able to say that she was our greatest challenge, but she's our biggest success. So
Okay.
Amen.
she
Good.
has gone on to be a very productive person, and she
Mhm.
still has her moments and her challenges. You know, life is
Mhm.
life, and we all have our challenges. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that she is who she is today because of the love that my husband and I poured into her.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Great. Thank you. How about you? Either. How about you, Monique? Greatest thing,
Um,
best
I
thing.
would say that I would say the best thing. Well, two things. The first thing is shortly into our journey. So our two oldest are adopted. We adopted them before we got pregnant with Micah. So shortly into our journey, I felt like the Lord revealed to me, like, our kids had a purpose and that, the enemy tried to steal their purpose. So just seeing that revelation of partnering with God to see our kids walk in their God-given purpose is
Mm.
really amazing.
Go
Um,
ahead.
and then I would just say, being a Christian, being adopted into God's family, just that equivalent of understanding what God
Mhm.
has done for me.
Mhm.
I can physically see it manifest through our adoption as well.
Amen.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
I,
you.
Mhm.
What you
I
thinking, Anna?
I'm thinking that I don't know if there's a single best moment or there's just a lot of moments that we gather together so that when it's time to reflect, you say, "Oh, remember when you used to crawl under the floor and kick your feet out, but remember what you're doing now." When you go
Mhm.
back and forth between making a step forward and the child see themselves moving in a positive direction. Although
Yes.
Mhm.
you can take a backward step, although you have to sometimes return to start, but each time you're taking a step forward. And it just seals the fact of a family because that's what family is. You move
Mhm.
forward together, you stand still together. Sometimes you take a step back together, but you still stand together. That
Okay.
feeling.
Okay. Being together,
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's
making a
good.
difference in someone's life,
Yeah.
being together, and helping children step into their God-given purpose. I
Yeah.
thank you so much. Thank you all so much. Thank you.
Mhm.
Um, some people say to us, I'm gonna tell you one of the challenges that we are struggling with. Well, I won't say struggling, but I hear so much. Um, Sister Ray, I hear you, but I've raised my children. Now, these are for people empty nesters. I've done my part. I raised my children. I don't want nobody else's children. What say you about that? Any comments, any thoughts about that?
I want to
Monique?
say something. I'll say
Okay.
something if you don't mind. Because I was adopted, of course, but
Mhm.
like Miss Monique said, I think it's if you look at it in a biblical standpoint, a godly
Mhm.
standpoint, the standpoint, it's not about. Sometimes it's not about us, you
Mhm.
know, and it's about what we can do and what we can give to somebody. Because what are we here for? Are we here for ourselves, or are we here to love one another? Are we here to pour into another? Are we here to, So for me, I think it's being not selfish, being it's
Mm-hmm.
about these children needing to be provided for,
Okay.
needing to be loved. So it's not about us. So that would irritate me if I heard that, because it's not about us. Yeah,
Okay.
you raise your kids, but there's some children that need a chance. That's why I started this organization to give back, because I was in
Okay.
foster care and then I was adopted. So I wanted to give back. So I'm glad you asked that question. I'm curious to hear what everyone else says. But for me, it's not about us.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I
All right.
mean,
Anybody?
I would agree 100%. I feel like, at the end of our life, we will stand before God, and it's
Mhm.
if God has called you to adopt, if God has called you, and I mean, the Bible is clear, caring for the orphan, in their
Mhm.
time of need. I mean, it's very clear what God calls us to do as his
Mhm.
followers. Um, and I understand not everybody is called to adopt
Mhm.
Mhm,
Right.
or be a foster parent. I 100%
mhm,
understand that. But I
Right.
do believe there are people who are called that are not answering their calling. And at the end of your life, you do have to stand before him,
Mhm.
and just an answer to what he's called us.
Got you. Thank you.
So I mean, if you feel the tug, I definitely, I mean, you gotta,
Mhm.
answer what he's calling you to do.
Okay.
I feel
Thank
that
you.
I feel that this is something that I was meant to do. I
Okay.
always knew this was going to be me.
Okay.
I just knew. I mean, this is what I'm committed. I feel that this is an inner part of me
Okay.
doing this. Mhm.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so for me, my background is a little different because, like I said,
Mhm.
my husband and I, we did not want children, and
Okay.
we were newlyweds. Just about, we had gotten married 3 years before, and
Okay.
then this tragic hurricane happened in Louisiana, and I was watching a news clip, and I remember the little boy. He couldn't have been no more than 8 years old, and the news reporter
Mm,
asked him where was his mom, and he said this was Hurricane Katrina that I'm talking about, and he
Mhm.
said
Uh-huh.
that his mom floated away in the water and died.
Oh goodness.
And I am not an overly sensitive person, but that
Jesus.
broke
Oh,
my heart, and I immediately started crying, and I started looking for children that had been
mm,
impacted by Hurricane Katrina.
Mhm.
Okay.
That led me through a series of websites, and I ended up in it was a link to the state of Virginia to view the waiting children in Virginia.
Mhm.
And when I
Mhm.
clicked on the link, I
mm,
was floored when I saw that there were 360 kids waiting at that time. And this was
Mhm.
2006.
Mhm.
And my heart just broke. And I could
Okay.
mm,
not believe it. And so I couldn't shake it. And the next morning I woke up, I was still thinking about it. And then I said, let me just research this. And then I
Mhm.
researched the process. And then we ended up adopting our daughter months later.
mm.
Okay. Okay.
man.
Thank you. Wow.
Amazing.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Um. Now, each one of you all have gone through the foster care route. Um. Could you just share with me? Was it easy? Was it complex? Did you have support? Would you do this? Would you do it this way again? Um, Fostering. Did you foster first and then adopt, or did you do straight adoption? Whatever you want to say about adopting from foster care, or fostering first and then adopting. Anything you want to say about that, Monique? What about you? Would you share that?
Yeah, actually, well, my newlyweds too when we but the interesting thing is while we were it came up in conversation, so it was something that was always on our radar. And I think we waited about a year and a half before we started taking the classes and things like that. But what happened was we saw a flyer um, at our church that said foster. And so because we had already talked about it, when we were dating, I was like, okay, well, this might be the sign, this might be the time. And that's when, we grabbed the flyer and um decided to move that direction. I mean, honestly, I would say, I mean, kind of like even with, Felicia's story, I mean, however it happens, however you end up
Okay.
on this journey. I don't think there's necessarily a right or wrong way. Um, I
Mhm.
do know some people who've adopted, domestically, overseas. I mean, I think,
Right.
the Lord's going to guide you in the direction. But yeah, foster care just happened to be the route we took. Um, and I mean, there were some challenges. There's all I mean, with foster care, there's definitely challenges.
Yeah.
Especially with our most recent adoption, there was definitely um, unforeseen challenges that have popped up
Okay.
once we started. So, I mean, I I,
Do you
I
feel
think
like
whatever
are the supports there for you?
uh, I would necessarily say, in my opinion, I think it's important to surround yourself with outside support. Um,
Uh-huh.
I believe the agency's role is to look out for the best interest of the child,
Uh-huh.
and then the biological family, and then, I mean, foster parents as well, but that the support isn't primarily for the foster parents. So I
Uh-huh.
I believe um, my suggestion would be surround yourself with people that are doing it, have a good support system outside of the agency,
Mhm.
Okay.
because things pop up. And I mean, the agency isn't necessarily always gonna, in my experience, the agency isn't always there to provide support for you. They're looking for the best interest of the child.
Okay. 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 Um, so as we are, you mentioned each one of you has said some things that suggested me that you are a person of faith or conviction. I hear conviction, I hear faith, I hear calling, I hear something, touch my heart. Um and so I know with you, Monique, we had talked to you about your church being involved. But and this is not something that I was even thinking about saying, but since you all kind of has said some things that make me want to bring that up during this adoption segment. We at One Church, One Child are looking for opportunities at
Mhm.
churches to let congregations know the need for loving, nurturing foster families and loving, nurturing um, families that can be forever families through adoption. We are really looking for churches in the Tidewater area, in the Northern Virginia area, and in the Richmond area to help us recruit families um, to start this walk. So I want to take this time to say, if you are if you're a member of a church, if you are if you are clergy and you're listening to us, or if you are a member of a church and would like to present this to your clergy leader. Please ask them to contact Virginia One Church, One Child. We are on the web at www.va1church1child.org. Our telephone number is 804-329-3420. And we are looking for and wanting to engage churches in Virginia to help to identify and give the church's support to families who step forward to either adopt or foster. Another thing that I want to say that you're right, Monique. Everybody is not called to foster parent, and everybody is not called to adopt. But if you are called to love and to care, we could use volunteers. Children need mentors.
Mhm.
Tutors.
Families need, children need tutors.
Yeah.
Children need children need some of everything. They need clothes, they need shoes, they need and families need respite. Some families need respite.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I do want to say that um if you would be willing to go through the training and the requirements of being a foster parent, you could be a what we call a respite provider for a foster or adopted family. And so if you feel like you can't do this every day or do this on a long-term basis, perhaps you could do it on a short-term basis in terms of being a respite family. But there are more than 5,000 children in Virginia right now who are in foster care. Now, again, a lot of those children are going to go back home, and we want them to return home. We want them to be with their natural parents and their birth parents. But for right now, more than 767 children in Virginia are available, legally free, and available to be adopted.
Mm.
Most of the children most of them are not babies. Most of them aren't even toddlers or 4, 5, and 6 years old. Most of the children are 10, 11, 12, up to 17. And we're looking for families for those children, for sibling groups, for tweens, for teenagers. And these are the children who are waiting in foster care right now to be adopted. And also, these are primarily the children who are in foster care who need foster parents. They tell me that we need about 1,000 foster parents every year for the children that come into care.
Mhm.
So that's a good number of families across this Commonwealth. And so again, November is Adoption Month. This is the time that we say thank you to those families that have done this. This is a time that we ask you to think about either creating family through adoption or building your family through adoption, adding to your family through adoption. We're asking you to reimagine your family, reimagine building families. And anybody else got anything else that you think you might want to say about this?
It's a journey, and there are many challenges, but there are also many, many rewards that you feel at the
Okay.
same time you're walking through the challenges. And if you get a good support, and if you have a support group around you, let me take a step back. Don't be hesitant about reaching out and asking for support if you decide to take this journey. Just
Okay.
ask, because there's always somebody out there and somebody who knows of somebody who can help.
Okay.
So just ask.
All right.
Yeah,
It's a step on
I would
faith. It's a step
definitely,
out.
yeah.
Hmm.
Mhm.
What
Well, do you feel? I'm
Lena
sorry.
said that. Oh no, I would just say, if you feel this calling, like I said before, surround yourself with people who are doing it,
Hmm.
um, people who have gone through the process, who are going through the process, people that will pray for you. Um, I kind of see it as like adoption, kind of like marriage. Like you want to have a healthy marriage, so you reach out to people who have a healthy marriage. So with
Mhm.
adoption, I mean, things will come up, and you want to be surrounded by people who have experience, who've walked through the journey. Um, to help you and to support you when things come up. So I would say support and community is is everything. And
Okay.
then lots of prayer.
Well,
Lots of
someone in our
Okay.
prayer.
comments said Jennifer Stitz says there is something everyone can do. So there's something that everyone can do. So
Okay.
can I just ask the question to each guest? What does reimagining family mean to you? Can we start with Miss Williams? Like,
Okay.
what?
So for me, going back to my husband and I being newlyweds and not wanting children. So we had
Mhm.
planned our life out, and we were going to travel and build a home and do all these things. And then 2 years into that, we had built the home, and our lives changed literally in 6 months because we started the adoption process shortly after we moved into our new home. And so everything that we had planned came to a screeching halt. And our lives changed before our eyes, and it became all about the child and our daughter and our family. And so it was definitely not what we had planned, but because it's where God led us, that we adapted to the situation, and it was something that became our purpose. And so we knew that it wasn't by accident, and
Okay.
that we were making a difference. And so we put ourselves on the back burner and decided to give her our all. And as I look back, like I said, she's 24, and
Mhm.
I can't be any more prouder than I am today.
Go
And I
ahead.
wouldn't have changed anything about our journey. We had many, many trials, many challenges, but we had a strong support system. The
Mhm.
agencies, we had two agencies. We had one church, one child, and then we had the agency from Northern Virginia where my daughter was placed. And
Mhm.
both agencies were very supportive. So there
Mhm.
was never a time that we felt we were alone. I could
Mhm.
always pick up the phone and call and ask for it. At some point, I was like losing my mind. I was at my wits' end, and
Mhm.
there was always someone available to talk me off the ledge and to walk me through it. And so
Okay.
looking back, I wouldn't change anything about my journey.
Thank you. Great. Great.
What about you, Mrs. Ford? What do you think?
I'm a single. I'm a
Reimagining.
I'm a single parent, so
Mm.
and I and a retired teacher, but
Mm.
I think you just have to be open to seeing the possibilities and
Mhm.
what could happen if you did do, and is that the picture you want? And if
Mhm.
it's yes, then that's what I did. I knew I wanted more children. I knew I wanted to make a difference. So when I reimagined from where I was to where I am and where I may be tomorrow, I just said this is going to be a part of it.
Okay.
This is just it.
Thank
And
you.
I'm on the hunt again, so this is just it.
Right.
Yeah.
How about you, Mrs. Monique? Reimagining family.
Um, Reimagining family. So I think for me it means like I said, when we first got married, we chose to pursue foster care and adoption first, before um trying for biological kids. And I mean, that's just how it worked. But I would say that reimagining family is realizing that adoption isn't just a plan B. It's not. I mean, um, adoption is just how God brought kids into our home, but it's not any
Mm,
less than, having biological kids or um, anything like that. So I think people assume because you pursue adoption that you just couldn't maybe have biological kids, and that's not always the case. It's
mhm,
just how God blessed us
mm.
with three of our kids.
Wow. Well, I think that's a good segue to reinforcing the fact that we are looking for loving, nurturing families for children in Virginia who are in foster care, who need families. And during this November Adoption Awareness Month, we want people to know that they can reach out to Virginia One Church, One Child. We are a community outreach, adoption and foster care education and recruitment organization. We will help you. We will support you. We will be there for you. We will connect you with a placing agency. And we want to thank you. Thank you, Anna Ford. Thank you, Monique Ransom. Thank you, Felicia Williams. And we want to thank most especially Regina Alston and the work that she is doing. Regina is doing some awesome work, you all. She has
Thank you.
3 awesome books and a whole series of um, activities that support children in foster care. And I mean birthday cakes and pajamas and all kinds of things. So we'll tell y'all some more about Lena's adventures a little later. But thank you so much, Regina, for having us.
Thank you all
Um,
for coming.
thank you.
Thank
And
you.
I just want to say, you guys are doing a wonderful job, and I hope someone out there, this has touched someone's heart to, no, let me ask a question. Where can they go to, say they're thinking about it and they just want to
Mhm.
come to a foster care meeting just to hear
Mhm.
about it? Where can they go? Some people can go just to say, well, I want to find out about this, but I don't know where to start or where to go.
Sure. No, really, I'm telling you, we do information sessions twice monthly,
Okay.
and we're doing them right now on Zoom virtually. And I'm saying that you can what you call link find us on the web and say I want to come to an information session. It is Virginia One Church, One Child. We will talk to you about the foster care process,
Mhm.
the adoption process.
Mhm.
We'll talk about infant adoption, little people adoption, older kids adoption, and we will. My primary focus is uh, at least school age children and older, but we will connect you with an agency to that fits what's in your mind and your heart. And but we do them twice monthly, the second Tuesday evening and the third Thursday of each month. These are no obligation sessions. We hope that when you finish and when you hear all that we have to say, that you will want to start. But the information session is just that, for information.
Okay.
They can call 804-329-3420 or just click on an inquiry on the web at www.va1churchonechild.org. That's it.
Okay. Well, I think this has been a great, great show. And I'm so glad that all of you got to share a little bit about. And if anyone, wants to watch this segment again, or if you want to share the link, you can share this link it's on Lena's Adventures. It's also on Lena's Adventures on YouTube, and it's also on Regina M. Austin's Facebook. So we're on 3 sites today, so you can share it if someone missed it. But I think it was very informative. It was very informational, and I just thank you all for joining. And yes, and thank you, Miss Cassandra Ray, for
Thank
inviting
you.
Mrs. Ford, Mrs. Monique, Mrs. Williams. You did a great job, and and for Miss
Thank you.
Williams, you said she's 24. Are you thinking
She
about doing
is.
it again?
I don't know. I don't know, but if we did do it again, I would definitely do a school age child
Yeah.
because they do need love too. When we were going through the process initially, we kept getting asked time and time again, why don't you want to adopt a baby? Why not a baby? And I will always respond that the goal is to parent, and a baby regardless to the age of the child, it is still someone else's genetic makeup. So you can
Mhm.
raise the child from birth, but they are going to be who they are because it's all genetics. And so
Right.
we went into it with an open mind. And I think with us going in, knowing that there were 360 kids waiting, and
Mm.
all of them were over the age of 5,
Mhm.
it blew my mind that kids were
Wow.
aging out of the foster care system. Like, well, what happens with them when they turn 18?
Yeah.
18 years old. Yeah, we think we grown and we're off into the world, but you still need guidance and support. And I think about
Mhm.
all the support that my mom had to give me through my early
Right.
adult years. And so, what
Right.
happens with those kids when they age out of the system? So, all of them
Mhm.
need love. So, if they're 2 or 17, if you have it in your heart and if you think that you can make a difference, I strongly encourage you to do so.
Great. And speaking of
Thank
aging out,
you.
we're blessing a young lady on next week, because on the 21st is National Adoption Day. So we're blessing a young lady who's aging out, and we're blessing her with a $500 trunk. So this is some of the things we do, and we added so many different things in there, and we'll be on
Mhm.
next Tuesday to talk about and show the trunk, and we'll be donating that to someone. And so if you
Okay.
want to come on my site and you're interested in donating, and none of this goes to us, it goes out back to the children. Like Miss Cassandra Ray said, we
Mhm.
have given over 200 cakes to children in foster care here and in Ohio, from where I'm from, and we have donated many pajamas. We're going on our third year for the pajama drive, and we
Mhm.
already have 25 pajamas collected from One Church for
Mhm.
Child. And so we're doing suitcase drives, and we're doing stuffed animal drives. So, we're really out here. So if you want to
Mhm.
know more about what we're doing, please go to my site, my website, which is adventuresalina.com, or go
Okay.
to my organization site, which is lenasadventures.org, and look us up and see what we're doing. So
Okay.
thank you all for the great job that you're doing. And I just thank you, and I'm grateful for you being here today.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
Thank
welcome. Thank
Thank
you.
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 Good night.
Good
Bye-bye. Good
night.
Bye
night.
bye.
Bye bye.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.